What is up, ladies and gents? That is the back of my head. That's not me right now. What is happening on that camera angle? Well, you're going to see me appear here in just a second, though I'm sorry to take away the lovely shot of the back of my head that was there from maybe a minute and a half ago. But nonetheless, welcome to an episode of the Grappling Hour and Inside BJJ presents the Bullpen. We hope you're having a great day. Happy Valentine's Day to you and to your family, to your loved ones, to your friends, to your family, whatever it may be, and to our spouses, whom I'm sure several of you, if you had the chance, would run away from to go train, which is odd. It's very odd. I've seen a lot of promotional notes for people that say, hey, it's Valentine's Day, but you need to drill something else. And I think, guys, don't say that shit. That just gets weird. And I could say this. Some of you out there have even claimed that that is what you do on your Valentine's Day. And if you have a partner that trains, you're even luckier. But nonetheless, we come to the crew here of three, band of misfits. I'll go first to one. Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing on this Valentine's Day, sir?
I'm doing great. Happy Valentine's. Wishes to the Bullpen crew. On behalf of already sweating. That's right, baby. I woke up today. It's Valentine's Day. I was in a sweat. I'm like, let's go. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Can't wait to talk some great jiu-jitsu today. A lot of cool stuff going on. We're glad to have Kevin back. And it's a very passionate day today. So let's get heated, gentlemen. Let's go.
All right. Thank you for that. Kevin, we now turn to you. The people were wondering where you were last. So where were you, sir?
Yeah, man. Learning neurosurgery ecologically. I've heard that is the best and fastest way to become qualified at anything. And I've dedicated my life to neurosurgery. Hard to find volunteers. Not going to lie. Hard to find volunteers. I'm expecting a boom after Valentine's Day, but, we'll see.
You could just sign up some white belts for. They don't get a chance to choice and all.
I'll get you a... Listen, bro, you want a stripe?
I will say, Kevin has the most ridiculous version of out stripes that I've seen. And as a upper belt here, I do feel that when I hear him have his promotion standards, one might say, I think to myself, those are very good. But do you have demotion standards as well, Kevin?
Yeah, the closest I've come to taking a stripe away, I had one of my blue belts, one of my recent blue belts, who's got one stripe on his belt, just got it. Was basically he got mounted by Chris Wojcik at Chris's seminar, and putting him in oak, and I started saying there's a minute left. Do not. If you tap, I'm taking the stripe. I swear to God, I'm taking the stripe right off your belt. I will dig it out of your gym bag. It's gone. That's the closest I've come. I've also yelled at someone before for they had a locked in rear naked choke, and I could tell they were doing that thing where they're kind of thinking about letting it go, their arms are gassing out. And I told her, I was like, hey, if you let go of that, I'm taking a stripe. One way or another, you keep that you keep that locked in. So I yell at people and make David Goggins style threats.
Who's going to carry the boats?
Yeah. Listen, if you're not carrying the boats, you don't get stripes. That's the law.
I always think to myself, I'm like, every time I want to utter out who's going to carry the boats, I always look at the people I'm saying it to and I go, well, clearly not any of you. And,
yeah, we're not boat carriers.
I know people's skills, and I'd like to think I'm a pretty decent manager of these things, but I do know that for sure is not a skill that most jiu-jitsu people have. Hey, speaking of stuff, I had mentioned on the show last week that I had to do some coaching on the Super Bowl. Not my best work in terms of planning, especially when the kids are like, see you Sunday, coach. And I go, no, it's Saturday. Sunday, coach. And I was like, no, it's Super Bowl on Sunday. Everybody... Oh no. I but first you ever do this to me, and then you very quickly for sure. And I was just trying to be this to people, but I was like, I was as a video of what exactly I was going through, and you kind of see this is like, listen, the game's going to be what it was, but I was very excited for the halftime show. You may have seen from my social media at some point, but this is just a clip of what I like to call a coach. Out. I see that this is not playing now, but you can hear it. So unfortunately, we'll have to put that to a pause. Here, this clip is going to see a stress coach, and I want you to just take a minute and use your imagination, because this is me watching, as one does, a halftime show, checking in. Student one already checked in. Look. Now, I want you to get the fear in my heart. See the following look. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to ask both of you as coaches. When you see your student making comes to mind. Kevin, I'll start with you.
I hope nobody knows he trains with me. No.
Tim, what's the first thing in your head?
I mean, that's not the first thing that came to my mind, but now it should be. I'm thinking this guy looks like he needs to go use the bathroom in that last emergency evacuation that your body does before you go to the mat.
So all of here is I went from, I'm enjoying the halftime to things are going well to, he's going to do fine by, shit. So what was the issue here? The young gentleman by the name of Gabe, we have a coach named Gabe, so we call him Kid Gabe, trying to get my attention, doing this. I run over to him because he's got to compete in like 10 minutes. And I go, what's the issue? And he goes, Coach, these shorts, they say I can't use them. And this is when he had also revealed to me, earlier in the day, I guess I should say, that the pair of shorts, because I gave him those shorts. I gave him 2 other pairs to bring. And he reminded me that he did not bring those either. And I said, this is my nightmare. So as a meticulous planner, I run to my car and I go, don't worry, I've got extra shorts and I'm pretty sure they'll work. How much time do we have? So car, we get him different pairs of shorts. He's like, what happened? And I figure out why they said he couldn't compete in them. Would you like to know why he couldn't compete in those shorts?
Yes, I'm dying to know.
Drawstring had a slight piece of metal right here, just a little thing that holds that together. So that is the reason they are fearing that other people may get injured from that little thing that keeps string together on the rope.
What tournament was it?
This was Jiu-Jitsu World League.
Okay.
Also, it was,
yeah.
And it was me telling the children, on no circumstances will you buy shorts. We have plenty of shorts. Remind me to tell you off air, Kevin, because there was another slight Jiu-Jitsu World League thing that for a certain friend of ours who might be a lawyer to direct me in the certain direction on if that is acceptable or not. But nonetheless, everybody, enough chit chat. Let's get to the board. I'm very excited for this week, and as you should be too. But gentlemen, we start off with perhaps the biggest news of the week, which is that John Danaher was announcing that he may have back as a coach. He's going in for another surgery, and the surgeries in the past have kind of rendered him unable to coach in the way that he feels he is best utilized in. However, he teased the fact that he would be coaching recreationally, which begs the question, for a man who shows up in a rash guard everywhere he goes, what does coaching jiu-jitsu recreationally look like? I will start with you, Tim Freeman.
I have not heard of a rec jiu-jitsu coach. Is that where you the local YMCA and you catch a bunch of folks that are just there on a Saturday morning? Obviously Dan had a lot of health issues when it comes to his body. He's had a lot of surgeries already. He's kind of alluded that something like this was I don't foresee him pulling much, to be honest. Probably you might not see me for months. I think he's going to get right back into it. I know he's super smart and reads all this stuff, but outside of jiu-jitsu, like, does this dude do anything else? Like, I think this is pretty much his 100%. It's what he does, what he thinks about when he goes to bed. It's what he thinks about when he wakes up in the morning. I just don't see any way they're gonna, he's gonna pull off and not have that part of his life. I think like sooner rather than later.
I'd like to point this out in the chat. We have somebody saying BJJ Ocean. They say, damn coaching at Grappling Industries. So don't worry, he'll be running into me very soon, I'm sure, at this and juncture. Kevin, what say you about this?
Start seeing Danaher in one of our fight videos at the end of this show. When we start doing street beef breakdowns, the only thing that remains to be seen is whether he's hats or glasses. And we're going to start seeing him corner of these and going to town. I don't know where brain went to the same spot Tim did, by the way, is like, and like, as you alluded to, Raph, like he wears a rash guard everywhere he goes. How does that guy take a step back? Right? Like you have to reinvent your whole identity. If you're wearing rash guards in public, like that's kind of, I think you're deeper in than the guy with a jiu-jitsu tattoo, right? Like you have to be. I don't know how you go from all I've ever done is be this jiu-jitsu guy, stepping outside of it. But, best of luck to you. I can't wait to see how well the glasses do now you're in their corner.
So I'll pose this question to the panel here, which is, does he go into surgery in a rash guard? Because they may ask him very specifically, sir, you have to wear this gown. And he goes, no, I've got my own attire. And they go, no, sir, that's not how this works. Because you think to yourself, the shaming public venues when you say you need to be in a suit or a tie or at least business casual, worst when you go to a wedding, was not adhered to, and that story is well documented. Now we're talking going to a hospital where there are legitimate protocols. I ask both of you.
I think he's going to open a rash gown. He'll have something kind of sorted out. A little longer, snaps through the crotch area. It's like breakaway. It's like a breakaway singlet, more or less. I could see him rolling into that.
Yeah, you know what? Good enough. There's a reason to go on after that. We'll start here also with a note from Wallow J that says, hello, fellas. I am shocked to see Kevin back. Kevin, any response?
I like to keep him guessing, man. I like to keep him guessing.
It would be better if you kept the audience guessing and not the executive producer of the show guessing. See, the weird part that happened there is...
You don't break kayfabe. You know that, Raph.
Oh, for sure.
I'm a method actor.
Yup. Super good for my mental health. I just know that if I know ahead of time, I can come up with a good joke. But half the time when the people ask me and I'm live on air, and depending on my mood, it might just come out as, he didn't show up. I don't know where he is. Or it might show up as that's a great question. Let us put it out to the ages. Is Kevin? Philosophically, I don't know.
Oh, hell yeah. Where's Kevin? Sounds like a fantastic game.
No.
That's a party game. It's
Carmen
Where's
San
Walt?
Do not get that credit. There is no...
Carmen San Diego has a bigger budget than me. This is just Where's Waldo? Like a county fair in the... I'm not in Italy. Yeah, there's no... He's at Publix, but he's like kind of obscured behind an aisle.
The reason I
all over the world.
The fact that I'm like thinking to myself that Kevin would call himself up in San Diego and know that that is not true is that she requires too much planning to get away with what she's gotten away with. This woman has stolen continents, and Kevin literally is like, I just forgot to set my alarm. It's not the same caliber of criminal.
I would love to have the gravitas and prestige of San Diego, but I'm sitting at my coffee table with my cat scratching me while I focus on the podcast. I think I'm in her league.
Not yet.
If you see me do this, it's because my cat literally will sink his claws in me if I don't pet him. He has me hostage.
Listen, if I can work with the cat, I think we're actually off to a very good set here. Hey, speaking of this, look at this. This is interesting. And I didn't know this. This is breaking news to me. Tim, you put it on the board and it said Tony is injured, quitting IBJJF. I need some context here, sir. I turn to you for this news breaking.
Yeah, so Jiu-Jitsu Paparazzi BJ Eastern Europe snapped a picture of Pat Downey walking with it looks to me like he's walking on some tracks by a warehouse or something. I'm not sure what he was doing. But apparently the story is that he entered a local jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm not sure what it is, but he entered into the black belt division and ended up in some kind of leg entanglement. The article says heel hook, but when you read through the comments, some folks were saying like, no, and they got really upset that the move was misidentified. So, Downey kind of took it like a champ, to be honest, just kind of shrugged. I got a lot to learn about grappling. On the other side of it, he said never BJJF tournaments again, that are bias and he's tired of dealing with it. And I'm like, man, that was a the IJJF. That was in and out. So I think you're going down the right route, Pat Downey. Bummer you got hurt, but the sooner you probably start focusing on the Nogi world, the closer you're going to get to where you're trying to go. So,
well, first things first, Tim, you just have to refer to it as the Gulf of Nibar, and I think we're good. And second, if I'm thinking about this appropriately, how many organizations is Pat Downey going to run out of? Because I'm starting to go on one hand, and I go, we've only got so many. He goes, I'm done with IBJ. I don't know if he quit ADCC as well. I thought he quit something else.
He talked shit about CJI right after he lost. So, yeah. Bellator is not around anymore, so I feel like that kind of counts.
I just hope he is doing well. You will start running out of organizations to compete for or go across the pond consistently. I don't know how many times Polaris is going to put him on, but Godspeed, maybe more than I know. We'll see. Kevin, do you have any insight from this? Because it sounds like he's rage quitting a lot. Does this go well for him, or do you think there's a better approach for Pat Downey?
Probably a better, but I hate to say it, but like whatever, right? Like jiu-jitsu is going to forgive him forever. He could be in the IBJJF tomorrow. Maybe not the IBJJF. They tend to hold weird grudges about stuff. Like, isn't Eddie like not recognized as a black belt? And like, so maybe not the IBJJF, but like if he wanted to go to ADC, he's an exciting grappler. He's entertaining. He draws in viewers. He's going to get to go wherever he wants, right? It's fight. You can say crazy stuff and still do whatever you want. So rage quit all you like. I do think it's like not that unfamiliar. Like we've all had that. Pat Downey's just going through it publicly where we've said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm never doing the IBJJF again. He's just doing it publicly. When I first got into jiu-jitsu, I was wondering why, like, in wrestling, every other guy that in your training room has that USA wrestling tattoo somewhere, right? The same one that Weidman and Tony Ferguson and like all these guys. I think Gaethje has one, and like all these dudes have that USA wrestling tattoo, the logo on them. And I saw the IBJ and I was like, that's rad as fuck. Do a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys have that tattooed on them? They don't. Why not? Now I know, right? Like, and Pat knows too, because they suck.
Kevin, what if the optimistic version of you ended up getting that tattoo? Like, how different would your life be right now?
I have some really dumb tattoos, so not different. I would be 30 broker. I don't know. I would have tattoo instead of one day.
Be right next to the Naga Fighter tattoo.
The note here from DJ Ocean says, we don't want anything to do with Pat until he can pass guard. Them's fighting words, sir. For that, I have to tell you, I think there are a lot of us who might have to learn how to pass guard first. So I don't know if he's alone in that one.
Yeah, that's a very glass house.
I don't know that we can really throw that one. But I can tell you, I just say he's welcome anywhere he wants to go. I just hope that he finds a home that's appropriate for him. I think he's in the middle of his dating phase where he's seeing what he likes and what he's into, but I don't know that he really has found one that he likes.
Yeah, so, I could see that. I think you hit that spot on.
Yeah. Nonetheless, Egghead has joined us. He says, Danaher for audiobook performer / actor. Now, why is it that the person that sounds the most like a chatbot in the middle of our comment section is asking for the most chatbot-like human to narrate audio? I ask you this because I don't have the answer for it. But Egg, this tells me your reading preferences, if anything, when you're listening to audiobooks.
Bro, Egg heard Danaher's instructionals, the audio off him, and he went, whoa, 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 slow this guy down. This is too much passion.
He just buys the audio version of the instructionals. He listens to them.
No. You guys are both wrong. Tim, you're close, but he doesn't listen for the instruction. He listens for the stories telling you about the instruction that take up 30 minutes before you learn what an armbar is. It'd be
birds of a metaphorical feather.
It would be crazy if somebody was like, I actually just buy the Danaher DVDs to listen to the sirens in the background.
Yeah, all the side stuff. I actually buy them.
You know that one. Go ahead.
I buy them to see who's the uke that he always uses. What's that kid's name? I
know who you refer to. I unfortunately do not know his name, and I feel like it's somebody who is over the years has become notable. But like for years, I thought it was almost like Giancarlo was okay for a while on those. But
starts with a P. It's Placido.
Placido. Oh, okay. I just tuned in to see Placido just get smashed by Danaher. There's some techniques that Danaher does, and Placido's just getting fucked up while Danaher talks in double slow speed. And how many takes does he do? That's my question. Let's see the outtakes.
BJJ Ocean knew it right away and said Placido. Thank you for BJJ. You tell us the important information, and I love that we described a demographic that would buy just based on that stuff, and somebody just volunteered that information freely. No, that's me. I paid for it. I don't mind. I want to pay more. So we move on to our next topic. Tim, when I looked at this, I read it wrong the first time, and it said steaks, and I thought it was going to be something delicious. Instead, it's something else. It is. Loser takes it to the face. Now, Tim, when I let you have control of the board, and I say, come up with ways creatively to retain our audience, you put steak, and then loser takes it to the face. On Valentine's Day in a Craig Jones world. So I can't even say the word pause. It's written. So I did pause the actual video so that this can stay on the screen. Please justify why I am putting the board and this topic for this 3 minutes and 5 seconds, sir.
Tim,
do that. And then this was my job, not my topic. This was Kevin's topic. I just took Kevin's topic and I enhanced it a little bit for the pro.
Kevin, just so we can reveal information, did I loser to the face?
No, this one's on that one's on Tim. I have to give him credit for that.
That's perfect. Hey, okay, Kevin, why don't you give us the context for the wildly out of nowhere turn this show is taking?
Yeah, on main character jiu-jitsu, there's a super fight coming up between Katie Bohenik, who some of y'all may know from Card-Jitsu, and Katie Lawley, I think is how you say her last name. We've called her LB. She competes a lot, seen her on the scene. So these two have like some personal beef that stems back to someone dating someone's friend. Like Katie Bohenik is friends with someone that Katie LB dated. It's very wild. That's not the important part. These two hate each other for realsies. And they've challenged each other to a super fight, and they've done in combat jujitsu and come to an agreement. So instead, what they've done is a special rules stakes match. So it's just, I believe, just a regular match. But at the end of it, the loser eats 3 power slaps to the face, which is just outstanding. It just, my heart grows 3 sizes, just watching this. It's so funny. I love the idea of like a sub-only match, which is, frankly, it's like has the least teeth of any, of any combat sport in the world. Like, you can just lay there on the ground and manage to not lose. I love that at the end of this, if you end up doing that and it plays out, because like sub-only matches, they never feel definitive, right? Like, I've done sub-only matches, and like I had a guy when in half guard, and he looked down at me. He goes, "This is a fight. I'm fucking you up." And I went, "Damn, that's crazy. It's almost as if I took that in count. Like, yeah, I would have wrestled this as a fight, buddy." Like, I never feel definitive because you're not actually doing things that are like establishing dominance or whatever. But if at the end of this we do that, that feels fucking definitive. Yep, I love it.
Okay, let me have a minute as the executive producer of the show. So now I have this context. It's stakes. Loser takes it to the face, and 2 women on Valentine's Day. That's the context that I now have. Am I accurate in this summarization?
Valentine's Day miracle.
Valentine's dog.
Sometimes when you guys are like, how long could the board possibly take? Why would we ever? This is the shit that I edit. And I go, children, perhaps this isn't the pun we want. And you go, I don't know with it. I go, that's the issue. So, what anything to check on here? Do you need to defend yourself, or do you have analysis about matchup?
Well, listen, I think this is a great idea because as that clock winds down, if you're on the wrong side of this, I'm not sure. Does main character use overtime, or is there a decision? Is that how they determine? As that time winds down, if you're on the wrong side of this match, you're going to get real motivated because you're going to get jacked 3 times in the face in just a few minutes. It's bad enough to lose. It's even worse to lose to your enemy. Like, oh, this person, and then it's even worse to have to stand in front of them and take an unadulterated slap to the face. Not one, but this entertainment to the max. Fantastic idea. I want more stakes match. This is brilliant idea. I love it.
Just want to
had to treat this with the nuance deserved.
You were unadulterated in your description
Correct.
of this. So again, this is maybe sometimes semantics here. It's just, I sit here, I think to myself, I have a mute button. Why don't I use it more? And hear these conversations, and I hope you understand in the future, if it looks like you have no voice, you have an immediate understanding why I pulled the plug.
I'm sorry. I'm a wordsmith.
You are definitely. And it said here from Egghead, Wallow J, I almost made that comment as well. So people coming in hot for Kevin already. And it says, birds of a feather. Now, Egghead wanted to defend himself when he asserted, I listen to audiobooks and podcasts at 1.5x speed. No slowdown. So there's no nuance. There's no articulation. He just wants all the greatest hits, as a true robot would. This is the one that I think it gets a little spicy on, and I don't know that Kevin has read this. I know the gentlemen have access to these chat inputs, but this says, Kevin's really opinionated for someone who only shows up 1/3 of the time at best. Kevin, your response.
Correct.
The
Yes,
problem,
absolutely.
the problem, Egg, is I think you feel this is an insult to Kevin, but Kevin is all about showing up the bare minimum, and you will not as much nick him or cause any harm to him psychologically by being like, yeah, you just barely showed up. And Kevin's like, that's precisely what happened. You're right. Facts.
Water is wet. Good job, Egg.
And then he leaves with this, which is family time through here. We'll watch you later. There is nothing quite like the person that tells you, like, I have better things to do. I'll be back. So as long as you come back later, that's all I care about.
That just means he can't defend himself while I talk shit for the next 3 minutes. Add it to the board.
Actually, you know what? Do it. I've got 1 minute for you. Air all of your egghead grievances, and I'll change the clock. I have 1 minute for you starting now. Go.
Perfect. Let's go. All right. So let's talk about this Danaher knockoff. He listens to audiobooks at 1.5 speed, but I need to let him know that the tax an audiobook. You Part 2, Egg. Like, I show up a third of the time, right? And yet still get time on the mic. Where you at, dog? You typing in the comment section? That's my comment. My house, buddy. I had something for birds of a was like I'm hitting the ball joke twice.
That's fair. All right. You know what? That's enough time. I feel like
Cool.
I feel like you did a service to him. I think the weird part is people that we create a board to create organization for the show, but we will stop on a dime to literally do anything else. We are so moved by it. Nonetheless, it does look like we have additional breaking news, and let's go to that now. This is a very cool topic, and I like this matchup a lot. It was this week that for you got Dante Lee, and you've got the entire jiu-jitsu saying, not bad. That's pretty there, 1FC. I think we've been heavy on greatness that we're seeing from the Fight Pass Invitational, but 1FC has together some fun matches. I rank this top tier of them. I'll start with you, Kevin. Who's winning this match and why?
Well, first of all, before I say this, this is one of the coolest super fights I've seen people put together in a while. Like, we get a lot of like, who's Gordon fighting next? Or what? This is actually a really, really cool matchup, and I appreciate they put it together. That said, after last year's ADCC performance compared to Ty's CJI performance, Dante Leon showed he's a monster in the legs, and love that monster in the legs. And Ty Rotolo showed susceptibility to that particular approach, right? I think Dante gets a hold of him. It's not like if you're Ty, you can't go in there with the simple game plan of like, oh yeah, let's keep him off. It's like, it's Dante Leon. He could still just wrestle the shit out of you and be a monster on top, right? And at all times, he can enter into your legs and then just go Mach 20. Ty's best in the world. I have to give, like, it would be hard for me to see Ty submitting Dante. It's definitely, but I really think like Dante stands a lot stronger of a chance of might be Ty. He goes at a crazy pace, man. But I still, if I was putting money down, Dante.
Thank you for that. Tim, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Kevin's onto something. This is the rubber match between guys. Dante beat Ty in a decision by 2020. Ty bag and finished Dante with a guillotine a year later. So these guys are going to mix it up one more time. I was super impressed, just like Kevin alluded to, with Dante and his performance at ADCC. He looked fantastic. That they're young, dynamic fighters, and they're picking up new skills all the time. They're constantly evolving and changing, and it's really hard to train for an athlete like that. Not that Dante is not getting better, because certainly he is, and he's a beast on his feet and playing the legs as we saw. He's got a great game, but it's probably easier to get folks to mimic those skills than it is to get somebody to be Ty Rotolo. Unless you're going to get his brother, it's going to be pretty hard to get ready for him. You're going to have to fight him in his house, where he's the big dog. I think it's a great matchup for jiu-jitsu. And I like that one is doing jiu-jitsu matches, but they're not doing doing like 7, one good one and 6 just whatevers. They're just doing like 1 or 2 really compelling matches. It's a great idea.
It looks like the MO matchmaking is just here. Look at it. It's just fun. That's it. That's all. And you go, oh, those are pretty good people. I like that. Let's see how they do. And I think what's nice about them is, at least now that they're getting new talent, you're not looking at some dudes probably going down the street to buy a newspaper and they're like, we'll get wrecked by Mikey Musumeci. Because I feel like those were hard packages where they're really trying to convince you this dude's got a chance. Current Wolverine Savages. And I thought, don't like that. But this is great. Maybe this is what we've been building to, but nonetheless, I would say they've been opening up their talent pool, and this is a nice reflection of that. So prop them. Gentlemen, let's forge on to our next topic, which is, you wouldn't assume this, given his pension, one might say, nonsense, but it does look like Craig Jones may not be the dummy everybody figures him out to be. Craig Jones right now may actually be coming up with a patent, meaning he will have the key rights as an inventor, or at least, inventor, for it. Tim, what are the details of this patent he is getting in place, and what can we expect to see from it?
Well, the details, as far as I know, and I'm a moron, are that Craig is acquiring the patent from Karate Combat. So I'm assuming that Karate Combat's still going to have to use the angled wall. And the patent is for a surface with walls a 15-degree angle or more, which is kind of me, because there's like about these X games, those ramps and all that stuff, like they violate the 15-degree angle rule. Maybe it has to be like a wall all the way around. I don't know. It's an move. Maybe he's concerned that organizations are trying to copycat his product. That they had a pretty close eye on their content at CJI, the original. They didn't want anything going out, and they were pretty aggressively pursuing that. It's probably more of the same, and they're looking to their assets and whatever they can get. But the real acquisition, if you want to be a baller and you want to play, then you got to get your hands on the patent for the IBJJF gi checker tool that get your game together.
For that, this begs the question: are there other patents in jiu-jitsu? Say it's a wall with a 15-degree. Makes us sound stupid, but are there some other opportunities we are bypassing here in jiu-jitsu?
Can we flip them around? Like, can they, instead of being a pit that keeps you in the pit while you fight, can we like flip them just like couches at the PF? Like, let's stop playing around and pretend like those couches are like, oh yeah, oh man, we just didn't have room. It's so unfortunate that we created this viral clip when Andy Varela tackled PJ into the, it's so unfortunate it happened again the next season. Dang. Let's just cut out the middleman and build slip and slides where if you push them, they just go shoo straight onto the couch. Put maybe a small animal there that we have to rescue at the last second, really create some drama. Like, what's the extent of this patent, and how much can we abuse it?
I'm glad that you have thought about this, and you're seeing me apparently reapplying a fucking earring there. There we go. I'm back. All right. As the earpiece falls out and the camera freezes, that's when you know we're under duress. Thank you, and I appreciate Tim you sending me a note. Gentlemen, I am excited to talk about this, but I'll tell you this. I'm happy to see that if Craig is going to inherit the patent, I think it allows maybe for some licensing to happen. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing more and more people build pit walls in their gym. I think it's gotten better. I'm still worried about the codes and standards. I feel like we should have somebody go inspect those things. It's just me. No, a lot of you guys don't like regulations, but I do love one thing, which is being able to roll and not have my neck collapsed. So let's just think of everybody. Let's try and build appropriately. We move on to our next topic, which is demoted. Kevin, this is not you, is it? This is a Tim one, right?
This is a Tim one.
Okay.
I read it, but this is a Tim one.
I'm sure you did. Tim, when I read the prompt here, I'm going to start the time here in a second, but I need to know, what is my motivation for the host introducing the topic here? Because the way it's written, it's almost like we're getting into Black Lives Matter here, and I just want to make sure that we're not getting canceled. So what exactly is the MO that you are giving me for this topic, sir?
Well, demotion earlier. Kevin actually has threatened his students with demotion based on, tapping to position. Or
just stripes. Let's not get crazy. Don't get the moms after me.
Cutting a stripe off is a demotion. And by the way,
Okay.
I was privy. It was my kids' class. This Marine, just OG black belt came in, and we had this custom. We'd all, kids got to go shake the ball when he comes on the mat. They all went to go shake hands. And this one kid I had named Pedro, weak kid, goes, "I'll get you later." And he just kind of lets him the hand wave off. Black to his back, a knife goes, Pedro. Pedro comes over there, hold your belt up. Pedro thinks like, "Oh, I'm going to get a stripe right now because I just punked the big dog." He takes his knife and as dramatic as he can, he slashes this kid's stripes off of his belt, crumbles them up, puts them in the garbage. Next time I come on the mat, you'll shake my hand. And the kids are like, "Ooh, Pedro.
Oh my God.
You shake his hand. Yeah. Anyway, stunned. He refroze. Demotions happen. This guy got demoted. This story is that this dude was a veteran. He was off in the military, not training. He was a purple belt, and then he did the military stuff, picked up some injuries, decided to get back into jiu-jitsu several years later, signed up at another gym, and the professor at the new gym was, "Bro, you're not a purple belt. What belt are you?" He's like, "No, I'm a purple belt." So the professor called his old professor and said, "Yo, what's up with this guy?" He's like, "Yeah, he's a purple belt. He's just a long time. He's picked up some serious injuries, and he sent him the certificate I gave him." And the new school's like, "Take belt off. We're demoting you to blue belt." And so, I mean, but does it matter?
I want to reiterate here. My question for you was, how do you want me to introduce this topic? You went off on a story that may or may not implement in your gym. That the gross concern I have on my face, which is, why are you testifying yourself, sir? Because you're like, "Oh, by the way, he got a knife out for this kid." And I would think to myself, that's where we stop the story. And you go, no, it's fine. He just violently took off stripe. To which,
Three of them.
not only are you making fun of the fact that you're like, "Well, Kevin takes stripes off." And I was like, right, but Kevin doesn't take them crocodile Dundee style and go, "That's not a knife. He has a
He holds the knife at the kid and he goes, "You take your stripes off."
These stripes are rubbish.
So, I just want to ask again, how would you like me to introduce this topic, Tim?
Basically, I'm thinking that the couching is like this. This is not a international jiu-jitsu topic with a famous athlete or a promotion. This is just some local community jiu-jitsu stuff that happens in every community. It comes up. Everybody knows a story about somebody that got demoted. So hey, let's talk about it on the show. Let's see what these guys think about it.
All right. I want you to know how I do this. I'm putting time on, and I want you to see how quickly I get to the question. Okay?
Okay.
Topic coming up next. Do belts matter? Well, a lot of us have heard horror stories for different gyms where people can do crazy things to take away. Here, we're just wondering, does it matter? Does it matter if ranked, or do you pull a Kevin and take away stripes unnecessarily? I'll start with you. Do you have any stories about crazy things happening at your gym when it comes to promotions?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ralph. I actually do.
Let me tell you about this kid, Pedro.
The best part is there's also the part of me that realizes you didn't talk to Legal here at Bullpen. And Legal, like, his name's not Pedro. In this story, it's Juan. So there's that. I will ask you this in fear you might. Kevin, do you have a story that tops that when it comes to demotions?
Tops it? Pulling a knife on a child? I don't have one that tops that.
Fishing the knife. He wasn't threatening with it. He just.
I'm sure he was.
You also
just
did not make
hilarious
that
to
clear.
say he was.
I want to be very, very clear where I stand. You didn't let us know things were going to be okay. When it sounded like this dude got disrespected, he was like, okay.
Bro.
You know what he turned into? Have you ever seen the movie House Party 3 where Max fights with the mom and he says one big insult about her and she goes, ooh. Oh, no, it's reversed. He goes, nah, I got to cut you. Exactly what it sounded like to me. It's like, ooh, cut you. And they basically ground each other and start to see, this is how Mexican I am. I'm like, oh, I don't have a make this a knife real quick.
I got one close, though.
Okay. You know what? We're going to move on. We can revisit this at a later date. The only thing I had as an image before you talked about the knife slicing off is that when you're like, what are we talking about here? You couldn't just possibly do somebody. And Kevin just goes, they're stripes. So in Kevin's version, it's kind of like Candyland when you just like swipe all the way down. You go, wee. The thing. So nope, you lost your stripes. That's all. It's not like
1,000%.
Game over die. You just lost your progress. No control.
You want me to? I need to defend my character. It's really not going to defend my character. Let me clarify my character.
Okay.
Character clarification point.
All right, so I give and take stripes left and right. I do it because they matter to the students. I don't give a shit about stripes. I once gave Baby Goose 8 stripes in one day. In about 3-minute video, I striped him up 8 times, then looked him in the face and said, "Don't you take those off." I put 8 stripes on his blue belt. I'll take stripes. I've given someone a stripe before for a t-shirt. I've given someone a stripe for bringing me coffee. One of my coaches has given someone 3 stripes for making a bunch of memes that were hilarious. When there was a little like local drama, one of the students at one of the gyms, let's keep it, we're going to play the Cups game in case somebody gets pissy. One of the students at one of the gyms made a bunch of memes and like they ran rampant. And Jucal said straight up, yo, whoever made these memes on social media, whoever made these memes, put 3 stripes on your belt. Congrats. Like, and like, so we give stripes, at least me and him. If you're, do whatever you want if you're on your own coach. Here's the thing. Stripes will never, not having stripes will never keep me from giving you a belt. Having a bazillion stripes will never make me give you a belt. You can have 4 stripes for like 9 years. I don't give a shit. If I don't want to give you a belt, I'm not giving you a belt. Conversely, there is a 1 stripe white belt. Actually, I don't think I've ever given a belt to someone who had all 4 stripes. I have a 1 stripe white belt right now that's going to get their blue belt in like their very next tournament. They don't know it yet, but they already earned it. I've just been waiting for them to compete so that I can give it to them. That's one of my like requirements is like, you have to compete. You got to rip that Band-Aid off. And then like I've given out belts for whatever, but like, yeah, I'll give and take stripes for like no fucking reasons. And it's because they don't matter to me at all, but they very much so matter to the students. So I just use them as a bullying tactic.
That's psychological terror, Kevin.
Hell yeah.
I don't think this topic did a lot of good for this team.
Oh, I think it did a lot of good, though. Very entertaining.
Well, It established our boundaries. That's the one positive thing I'm taking from it. I think the only thing is during the pandemic, pretty sure my stripes fell off, and I didn't remember how many I have. I look at my belt now, and people go, "Why don't you put them back on?" I was like, "I probably lost technique. I don't know. I'm not going to go back and look." They're like, "Aren't you 2 or 1 stripe?" I was like, "I don't know. 3 sounded nice, but I can't prove that now." So, now I'm hoping to reverse Candyland my way to another belt at some point. Nonetheless, gentlemen, we have a fight to get to, and not one prompted by any promotions or deals. This is a fight that Tim has found. Now, listen, Tim is good at a lot of things. Finding fights, number 1. Tim, what can you tell us about this fight for this week that you have selected for us?
This is a fight that takes place, it looks like it's at a Wingstop, and there is, listen, there's all the elements you want in a fight. There's some street element. There is some guard action. There's a sweep. A dude's get rid, and the victor kind of walks around with him for a while and holds him in his hand like, this is my trophy.
I'm doing that with the next stripes I take.
Yeah, clean fight, dude. And in the end, they chill.
The best part of this is you had me. You said this takes place at a Wingstop because it lets you know an important detail, which is people came here with the best of intentions. Everybody loves wings. They were hoping to get some delicious wings for their occasion, and yet chaos ensues. So, Tim, you're going to take the first crack at narrating whatever we're about to see. Godspeed to us all.
These gentlemen are employees of Wingstop, and he did not like that the buffalo sauce was not made right. And dude, grabs a handful there.
On the
counter. Great use of the pit wall here. He actually sags down. He slides down on that pit wall and hangs on the dreads. This is called dread guard. He's got a little spider action with his foot. Now, his opponent trains his judo. He pulls him back over right on the floor. But Hat has lost his hat, and we figured out he's an imposter. He's a member of the Balds. So he rips dude's dreads, and he's like, "This is my hair now. I get to take your belt, which is your hair." And he does a little victory lap. Those people are like, "Nah, I'm just trying to get a refill. Like, I'm not getting messed up in this thing." He's like, "These are your dreads, right?" He's like, "Yeah, they're mine." And he goes, "Okay." And he sits down and he waits for the wings that he ordered.
Tim,
and he's trying to go home.
Why is the end of the fight worse than the actual fight? Like, the discussion that happens afterwards is deeply to me. I'm going to let you have next at bat at this one, Kevin. It was a doozy. Say that. I look forward to my summarization, but first, Kevin, Cheryl.
Yeah, man, this is incredible. You can see he establishes grips early right here. The challenger from the red corner. Oh, man. And he decides to upgrade his grips straight into the dreads. Now, normally pressuring into somebody is going to get you somewhere, but this use, my God, he stacks his feet up on his chest and starts pulling on his dreads like a Looney Tune trying to open a door. Good Lord. And then like a Looney Tune, he goes skedaddling over the fucking desk. God, you just see legs kicking. That's amazing, right? This is where we're revealed something that is really surprising, which is you don't usually see. Now, can't quite tell, but those look like black Air Force Ones. You don't usually see that guy lose. This is an incredible upset from the Jordan community. This is hilarious. So he walks up with the dreads and he goes, "Yeah, man. Anyways, 12 count? Like, went a couple minutes? Okay. All right, appreciate it, bro. I'll be right here." Incredible.
Okay. All right. I know what I'm going to say. I know what the first joke I have is, but I need you guys to understand that when we reassess, we pull together we all look for different things when these fights happen. But I feel like there's a top one that's glaring that you guys didn't pick up on. that I was waiting to see if you guys might. But I got to do what I got to do. Here we go. I'm concerned why Ozempic, Herb Dean here, is really not really enjoying the action that is happening in front of us. Now, this is a big concern for me. When someone grabs your dreadlocks, you got to move fast and you have to move with intention. Instead, you place him on the counter where he's got a statistical advantage. And now, here's the one thing that really spoke to me. Instead of doing anything with the dreads, he's literally shaking the dreads at them and saying, got your dreads, got your dreads. And if you've ever listened to E40, this is specifically what he's referring to when he says, shake dem dreads. Like, this is the part of the dance most people forget to do. Nonetheless, a couple punches here. This is by far the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen to men's hair ever in life. Hold on. I need to stop here because I need to come back to Tim. Tim, don't you feel flaunting the hair in your face at this point? Because he's literally falling with clumps of hair in hand.
Yeah, 100% disrespect, but it's a fight, and sometimes you got to get the advantage.
Hold on. We got this comment that said, the bald dude has just shown how you can learn collar sleeve through ecological dynamics. And I have to tell you, A+ comment from the comment section here. Let me walk you through the ends of this. All right, so Ozempic, Herb Dean, not doing much here in terms of offense. And people were thinking about jiu-jitsu moves, but instead he realizes he's got some leverage. At this point, these Jordans are letting you know he is in for a good time. Now, this is the part of the fight I actually hate. They knock over all the pamphlets, and that doesn't play a role until later. But this drag over is similar to what you used to see when a cartoon character smelled a pie and would float to it. That's what happened here. There's a decent toss, and honestly, for a split second, I thought we might get some guard work here. For me, this is usually when I'll hit a Boston Crab. And then this dude wearing Crocs, like Crocs for Jordan, is a big comparison that we've never thought of. Now, as he's sitting here, it's like literally pulling a weave and saying like, got your weave, girl. And instead, now he's flaunting with it. What more can you have to say to each other at this point? Because the customer is right, so you still have to take the order. He points down at him. And the only thing I don't know is what he's pointing at here is, what is he pointing to? Is he saying like, sir, I still got to take your order. Like, we can fight, but I still got to get it. You got to give me your tendered cash. They look at each other and he goes, oh yeah, I'm thinking about those Parmesan. Yeah, put some Parmesan on that. I'll just wait over here. And that is the conclusion.
Yeah, he
Ladies
said,
and
yeah.
gents,
So anyway, ranch is fine.
Ranch is fine. It's perfect. I have two notes here, Tim, and then we are the day. Tim, you sent me, in addition to that, comment sections.
Yeah, these are one's about Danaher, and I think the other's about Downey.
Thank you, because I didn't have the context for what this was. And again, I don't want to question your methods or what you do, but when I don't have the context, I do have questions. And maybe you'll understand why. Here is the first one that you sent us, and it says, bro said, I own all the angle but straight. So
amazing. That's Craig.
What is this in reference to, Tim?
To the patent for the 15-degree angled pit walls that Craig got. So I guess Craig's saying I own all angles but straight. Played.
There we go. Okay. Again, when I saw that on top of your steak to the face, I thought I should just ask rather than assume anything here. And here's the last gallant that we have here for the week. Tim, what am I looking at this one?
This is in regard to Danaher. You put off the surgeries for so long. Why did you ignore 50% of your body?
Why? Why are we ending the show on this note? What is wrong with our people?
Because we can.
Because we can. All right, friends. Let's plug where people can see us and find us. Tim, with you.
You can catch me on Inside BJJ. We just had Kevin Crane on, so check that out. Pretty interesting conversation. Social media platforms, all that stuff. If you're out in Nashville, come to 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're out in the 209, go see my fam out there, 10th Planet Stockton. Great to be here today, guys.
Good to see you, Tim. Appreciate you, Kevin. Where can the people find you, sir?
Yeah, find me at Kevin Grapples on Instagram, or come train with me at American Top Team Lima or Superfly Jiu-Jitsu in Atlanta.
All right, gents, I appreciate you. Great work here. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I do see that I am frozen again. This has been a fun explanation and excursion. Pop back up in 3. Bam. All right. Let me go ahead and close this bitch up. Thank you guys for watching this week's installment of The Bullpen. Go support us. Find us at The Bullpen on Instagram. We'll have 10 coming up very soon. We hope that you have a very, very nice Valentine's Day. And the best, show some love to us here, patreon.com/grappling hour, patreon.com/InsideBJJ. You can support me. You can support Wild Thought, both of us. You can also like, comment, and subscribe to any of these places that you find us. But ladies, going to do it for us here. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of The Bull. We'll be back next Friday. But until then, it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you on the mats. Clean. In 1 second here.